You might be using the wrong AI coding tool. Cursor, Copilot, and Windsurf are all fighting for your workflow in 2026. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which one is worth your money and your time. Let's get the basics straight before we dive in. Cursor is an AI-first code editor built on top of VS Code. It's made by a company called AnySphere, and it launched as its own standalone app, not just a plugin. It brought in a different philosophy. The editor itself should understand your code base at a deep level. GitHub Copilot is the oldest player here. Microsoft-backed, it started as an autocomplete extension and has grown into a full chat and agentic tool. It works inside VS Code, JetBrains, and other editors, so you do not have to switch your environment. Windsurf is the newest of the three. It comes from Codium, a company that was already building AI coding tools before Windsurf ever launched. Windsurf is also a VS Code fork, but it built its agentic experience differently, with something called Cascade, which chains tasks together without you having to babysit every step. 3 editors. 3 different bets on what AI-assisted coding should look like. Let's see how they actually perform. Autocomplete is where most developers spend their time. It's the thing that happens when you're midline and the editor guesses what comes next. So let's talk about it honestly. Cursor's autocomplete, they call it tab, goes beyond single-line completions. It can anticipate what you're about to do a few lines ahead and suggest edits across multiple lines at once. In practice, this means fewer keystrokes to get from idea to working code. Copilot's autocomplete has gotten significantly better over the years. It pulls on a large base of training data from public repositories, and it integrates smoothly into whatever editor you're already using. The quality of suggestions is high, especially for common patterns and well-documented languages. Windsurf's completions also impress. Codium spent years building their autocomplete stack before Windsurf even launched, so the foundation is solid. Context awareness is one of its strengths, and it tends to understand your project structure without you having to spell it out. Honest take, all 3 have strong autocomplete in 2026. The differences are in how they handle unusual or project-specific code, how fast they respond, and how deeply they understand your particular codebase. Cursor has an edge on context depth. Copilot wins on breadth of language support. Windsurf sits comfortably in between. But autocomplete is only half the story. Here is where things get more interesting and more different. Chat features and agentic tasks are where these tools really start to diverge. Cursor has Composer. You describe what you want, a new feature, a refactor, a bug fix, and Composer touches multiple files at once. It reads your codebase, plans a set of changes, and executes them. You review before anything is saved. This is genuinely powerful when you need to make a change that touches a lot of moving parts. Copilot has evolved its chat and introduced Copilot Workspace, which lets you go from an issue or idea all the way to a working implementation. It's tightly connected to GitHub, which is either a huge advantage or completely irrelevant depending on where your repositories live. Windsurf's Cascade is its standout feature. It runs as a continuous agent that can browse your files, run terminal commands, check errors, and loop until the task is done. It feels more like delegating work than asking a question. The pattern here is clear. Cursor is precise and deliberate. Copilot is broad and deeply GitHub native. Windsurf is the most autonomous out of the box. Depending on whether you want control, ecosystem integration, or full delegation, your preference here will probably decide your entire pick. But we still need to talk about price. Price matters. Let's keep this simple. All 3 have free tiers with limitations. For the paid plans, Copilot for individuals has historically been the most affordable option in this space, making it the easy entry point if you are already deep in the GitHub ecosystem. Cursor's Pro plan costs more per month than Copilot's individual plan. For that price, you get premium model access and higher usage limits on the powerful features like Composer. Windsurf positioned itself aggressively on price when it launched, and it remains competitive, often offering more generous free usage or lower entry-level paid tiers than Cursor. Here is the real question though. How much time does this save you per month? If an AI assistant saves you even a few hours, the cost pays for itself. So the better question is not which one is cheapest. It's which one actually earns its keep in your specific workflow. That is exactly what our hands-on task test is about to show you. We put all 3 through the same set of real-world tasks. Not toy examples, Actual things a working developer does: adding a new API endpoint to an existing project, debugging an error that spans multiple files, and writing tests for code that was not originally built with testing in mind. On the new feature task, Cursor's Composer nailed the context. It found the relevant files without being told, understood the existing patterns, and produced a coherent set of changes ready to review. Copilot's Workspace also handled it well, but needed a bit more guidance on project structure up front. Windsurf's Cascade ran the most autonomously and even caught a missing import without being prompted. On the debugging task, all three identified the error source fairly quickly. The gap showed in the explanation. Copilot's chat gave the clearest walkthrough of why the error happened, which matters when you're trying to understand a problem, not just patch it. On the testing task, Cursor and Windsurf both produced solid and specific coverage. Copilot's suggestions leaned on more generic patterns, not wrong, but less tailored to the specific codebase we gave it. No tool swept all three categories, but the patterns that emerged are consistent, and they point toward a clear recommendation. Here comes the verdict. So which one should you use? If you are already living in GitHub, your issues, your pull requests, your CI pipelines, all on GitHub, Copilot is the smart default. The ecosystem integration is real, the price is accessible, and it keeps getting better. You do not have to change your editor or your habits. If you want the deepest codebase understanding and the most precise multi-file editing experience, Cursor is the tool that most senior developers are reaching for in 2026. The investment of switching to a new editor pays off fast once Composer starts clicking for you. If you want maximum autonomy, you want to describe a goal and let the tool figure out the steps, Windsurf's Cascade is genuinely impressive. It's the best choice for developers who want to delegate whole tasks and stay out of the way while the agent works. There is no single universal winner, but there is a winner for you, based on how you actually work. Think about where you spend the most time, what frustrates you most about your current setup, and which of these three tools solves that specific pain point. That is your answer. If this breakdown helped you make that call faster, subscribe. Every week we break down the AI tools actually shaping how developers work. No hype, just what matters.